cutting off the blood flow as opposed to putting pressure on, and as opposed to cutting off the airflow.
Right.
Hence why I refer to it as a strangle. But yeah, RNC.
A levels, it was something like I did better than I was expected to do. I remember when I was the day before I was going to get my grades.
Yeah.
My brother was like, "Look, when you get grades, don't panic.
Aww.
Just call clearing. You'll be fine." Like literally, that's what he said to do. But that's not them putting me down. It was just like the expectation was low, and it was funny. It was only one tutor where I got my grades. Everybody was like, "Wow, that's much better than we expected." One tutor said to me, "Imagine what you would have got if you actually did some real work."
Worked hard.
Do you know what I mean?
This is your A levels.
Yeah. So and you know, like the same thing. I took that in a very positive way. Wow, someone actually.
Yeah, it makes such a big difference.
Huge.
And I think I remember every single teacher who was positive in that way and encouraging.
Yes.
Because I guess it wasn't the norm. The norm was the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
And I could probably think of one of my tutors in Cambridge.
Oh wow.
Who I recently reached out to again because I went back to Cambridge for like the first time.
I saw.
And I was like, hey, Professor Spencer. Do you remember me? And he wrote back and was like, yeah, I remember you, of course I do.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, for someone who's actually maybe, and now I look back in retrospect, it must have been very obvious that I was different from
the rest. If you analyse everything that's going on and every single angle of different things that are coming your way, you can just go crazy. Like you can actually just go nuts, just thinking there's so many things that are going on, and you know, so it's almost like it's not even acceptance, but it's just actually like, you know, I have to keep moving, I have to keep going on, living actively in certain environments, especially where you're if you are in a certain elite circle, so to speak, whatever elite sounds may mean, or a circle that's different to you, and having to deal with that and being that outlier, it's tricky, you know.
Yeah.
People aren't always fighting your corner. You might have one person helping you, but maybe
they're
not.
And I think that was my kind of frame of mind in the beginning. I was like, it's me on my own fighting against the world, and that was it was massively motivating.
Yeah.
And I worked really, really hard, but there was no strategy. And the reality is like you're not gonna. Yes, you can achieve a lot on your own, but in the real world, you need to make connections. You need to make human connections. And build relationships with everyone. And that's like massively important. And again, like you can do both. And I think that's what I found striking about what you were doing initially, because you were talking about, like, I guess the theme is, it's like, well, how do you balance these both sides, or both of these worlds in a way, which I think is really important.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you can get a bit lost if we're just thinking about that binary approach we mentioned.
Big time. Yeah, I mean, it's a struggle. Just thinking that, sorry, you got me thinking something else now in terms of balancing things. We move on a little bit slightly. So again, you seem like you're similar to me in terms of juggling different things at once.
Yeah.
And completely different worlds. Professional work or office type jobs.
Cultural navigation, so as termed.
Skilled cultural navigator. You're well aware. Oh my gosh.
I told you I did.
You did all. You literally studied 2 courses.
When he sees this.
It's true. That is funny.
Mensky, was it Mensky?
Yeah, Werner Mensky, Professor Werner Mensky. That is brilliant. But it's. I mean, I find that I laugh at myself sometimes how duplicitous life is. Like literally, one minute you're straight laced in a bloody office and trying to speak or communicate in a certain way, and you know, just not revealing a completely different side to yourself and so on. And it seems a bit schizophrenic when you look at it.
But I don't think that's the case for everyone though. I think for a lot of people, that work environment is their every single environment, is the home environment, is everywhere. Right. I think it's just maybe in our case.
No, spot on, exactly. And it's a challenge, right? It's And I think that's what they even talk about when you get people of our environment or background going into an elite circle like Oxbridge or a Goldman Sachs or whatever bank it is or whatever it may be. Like, there's a lot that's gone into that because it's not the straightforward route, so to speak, or it's not the same circle, and it's a lot of calculations.
Yeah.
Because I remember even a colleague of ours, when he got a job at a law firm, and there was so much thinking about how he's going to sound, him talking, and how he's going to come across, his mannerisms, how he walks. You know, and I would say it's draining, but you get used to it. And it just becomes your norm, just like a switch. You're doing this now. But anyway, I'm thinking about that, and I'm thinking about, you know, you doing really well in one field, and then BJJ, right? And it you know, it's completely different things, right, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? Because someone could know you and just think, oh yeah, you just do that, and that's all you've ever done. Do you get that? Do people just not even aware of your academics at all?
I think I get it one way or the other. Again, if people love to box you in with certain things, I think on one hand they see like I'm a small woman,
right,
and then they assume, oh well, you know, she can't be strong or defend herself or whatever it might be. And then on the other side, if you just if you're like, oh well, I do sports, they assume that you're not smart or you know, not also a professional or whatever it might be. People love to assume one thing or the other.
Right.
Which
is it refreshing for you toggling between the two? Yes,
it's so refreshing.
Right.
It really is. Because as you know, like one environment can get tedious at some, and both can.
Yeah.
Like Jiu-Jitsu's been brilliant for kind of the diversity of people I've met and had to get along with.
Yeah, of course.
Like from people from very different backgrounds, very different political opinions, people I wouldn't normally necessarily
associate with.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got more relationship building skills out of Jiu-Jitsu than you did university?
Yes. It's ironic, right? But
That's brilliant.
But now so valuable.
That's so good.
So valuable, especially now thinking about like working in politics and like the diversity of people you come across. Like I built those skills through Jiu-Jitsu, definitely not at university. It got worse at university.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Again, and I think you're right, it was the environment, because I was just thinking there was also someone else in my year group. I always forget about him because he was never around.
Oh, okay, right.
For me, but I can get it.
And
he was he was also from London. He was from North London. I'm not gonna say his name. But he was just never around. Never used to socialise. Never would turn up to lectures. Never would turn up to supervision. He was just very absent.
Right.
And I remember one of my really friendly supervisors once said to me, and he was like a really nice one, he was like really friendly, like one that I would consider the nice guy. Once he said to me, he was like, Nina, do you not think that it would have been better off for you guys if we just didn't let people like you, and just call him John.
Yeah.
John, that was such an ethnic name, but it wouldn't be better if we didn't let people like you and John in. Because look at you, you're struggling, he's never around, and he was the nice one. I was like, this is outrageous. You're meant to be one of the good professors. Why would you make such a suggestion?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting insight.
It's so strange now I think about those interactions.
Do you know what? Let me ask you something. I prefer people being honest though.
Yeah.
So, but in a strange right?
Yeah. I mean, he was very
But I don't know if I could deal with that level of honesty. If I'm being real.
No, but actually, to be fair, then I had a discussion with him, and we, had a debate. So I was like, well, no, there needs to be kind of a more understanding environment, or.
Yeah, because it's not just for one. It's not just for us. Them being, it's not just for them. Sorry. Oh, man, that's tricky, man. I mean, like I said, sorry. What I meant about that is just at least when people are honest, I know where I stand with them. And you can treat them with
also have a conversation. At least you have an opportunity to change somebody's opinion.
Yes.
But when people are fixed in the way they're thinking and they just treat you a certain way, there's no opportunity to change people's opinion. But even like with racists, for example, like if we think about racism as born out of ignorance, right? If if there was somebody who made a racist comment, I wouldn't want to shun them. I would want to highlight their ignorance and win the argument. And then most people, they would drop those kind of opinions and thoughts and attitudes, I think, for the most part. Yeah,
agreed. That's interesting. Just one thing that I thought about when you're speaking, you said, I can't remember what you said, like you said you're a smaller person or something.
Oh yeah.
Straight away.
I don't in my head I'm not, but apparently.
The first thing I thought about was you putting Stormzy in a, what do you call it? Was it a chokehold? What do you actually call that move?
It's actually a strangle, interesting. It's called the RNC, which stands for rear naked choke.
Oh, right.
But interestingly, it's a strangle because the pressure's on you're cutting off the blood flow as opposed to putting pressure on it, as opposed to cutting off the airflow.
Right.
Hence why I refer to it as a strangle. But yeah, RNC.
That video is
that
intense.
was interesting. Such a nice guy. So tall as well.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly the point I was making.
And I think the novelty there for him and for everyone who was there was they didn't expect. Because I think we were there with the MP I worked for, doing a youth roundtable. I think Stormzy does a lot of like charitable work, in particular with that youth organisation and a lot of others. And then I went to shake his hand to congratulate him on being such a gem.
Yeah, of course.
I would put Stormzy on par with David Attenborough. It's just like a national gem, really.
Big time.
And then like politically as well,
he's on point, man.
Yeah, exactly. So I went to shake that, and then his friend said, "Hey, do you know she's a Jiu-Jitsu black belt?" And then he said, "Oh, well, show me something then." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Yeah, of course." Can you show me something? I was like, "Yeah, of course." I was like, "Do you mind crouching down just so I can demonstrate?" Obviously, in a real life scenario, your opponent or challenger wouldn't crouch down for you voluntarily. We do have options to get to the back.
Agreed.
But in this situation, yes. Then I put the choke on, and then he was like completely flabbergasted. They were so shocked because I think when you're not used to that sort of pressure on the neck, you like it's a bit of a. Has Carver done it to you before? Have you had it on?
Thankfully, not yet. But
you should.
I may well do after seeing that because
people. You need to condition that area of your body to not like that. Really, like that.
See, that's the thing with that video. That's such a good video because you could tell he was actually panicking in that moment, but then also split seconds after the realization, like just the shock that could happen.
I think
from you as well. I think.
Yeah, that's true. From like a little person. Because especially, I think those guys, they do a lot of boxing as well.
Right.
So when you do boxing and you're kind of competent boxer, you're like, well, I can defend myself.
Sure.
And I'm strong. Obviously, I just punch someone in the head.
Right.
But if somebody gets to your neck or gets you on the floor,
oh my goodness!
You need to combine those skills with something else.
No, that looked lethal, man. I've got to say that looked
because if someone's on your back, you can't punch them like.
You're done for.
Yeah, you are. You're basically done for.
That's
why cross training is very important.
No. That was impressive, man. I've got to say. I'm really happy you took the time out to do this. I think. Yeah, no. But we've discussed this for how long? Well, it's been a long time in the making, and I've got to say I really appreciate the support that you provided me as well.
Always.
No, big time.
Yeah, what you're doing is incredible. It's really amazing. And like I said, it reflects that thing I said before, right? We can, like, I love art. I love, like, jiu-jitsu, sport, going to the gym. Like, if we just follow through those interests, we can do brilliant things rather than just thinking about them. You just follow through. There's a lot you can achieve, and that's you're kind of a perfect example of that. And that's what you're doing here, like following it through and doing it well.
Adina, thanks again.
Thank you for having me, Ben.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Cheers.